So hello, everybody. We are so excited to have you on this call. I don't know how many of you attended our last series last month in April. Maybe you can just raise your hand if you attended the last series. We're doing a series of 3 webinars. And we are 3 organizations and 3 ladies that have come together. We're all passionate about women. So we decided to come together and just celebrate women, but also share a few critical areas that we thought are really, really important for women. And those 3 areas are health, planning, and healing. Those are the 3 areas that we thought, especially now in this COVID time, you know, the last 2.5 years when we had COVID and lockdown were a difficult time for everybody. So we decided to, as women, and just, you know, look into our health, look into our mental health, discuss our wellness, discuss how we can plan better moving ahead. So last month in April, we had a session on planning. And if you missed that session, we'll share the link in the chat. And today's session is going to focus on health. And next month, we'll be discussing healing. And July, we'll have a physical meetup just to get together, to meet everyone, bring key speakers to talk about crucial areas as far as health, healing, and planning is concerned. Because as you know, women are the foundation. We run the homes, we are office people. There's so many critical areas that we serve in. And if we are not okay health-wise or mentally or physically, or if you don't have your life planned out, then it's not only you who suffers, but the whole community and the whole family suffers. So as the 3 organizations, Phenomenal Women Global, H3, and FARM, we decided let's get together and share with the women. So my colleagues are going to introduce themselves, but I will briefly introduce Phenomenal Women. Phenomenal Women is a global organization. We are based in Geneva and in Uganda. Our key focus as Phenomenal Women is on doing annual conferences around the globe every year. And these conferences bring women together. During these conferences, we support, encourage, and build the capacity of women. We also do mentorship support, and we have an education fund. I'm the co-founder together with Lisa Sekaja, who is on the call. So that's Phenomenal Women. I'll ask Fortunate to introduce herself again from, and then today we have Dr. Kalisa, who will be sharing with us about health and will introduce H3. Over to you, Fortunate, and then you can hand over to Dr. Kalisa. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Reintroducing myself, my name is Fortunate Ingabire, but I like to go by my initials, FAM. Well, they all have an acronym and a meaning attached to it, but they all form part of my story. But today I will not dive deep into it. I'll share the next time we meet. But I'm passionate about women, just like Dana has shared. And I'm privileged to be part of this partnership. But most importantly, I'm hoping and believing that we shall all be able to pick 1 or 2, 3 things and that we shall go ahead and implement them, and they will be beneficial to all of us. Yeah, so over to you, Lillian.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. And I hope
yes,
the internet will behave. Okay. I'm Lillian Kalisa, like my colleagues have mentioned. Thank you, Fortunate and Diana. And yeah, I'm here to talk about health with my friends, and I will not repeat any of what they have shared. But today it's been a series of presentations from planning. Now we are talking about health and then foreseeing the healed version of you in the next. Okay, I need you to activate screen sharing so that I can share my screen and we start. So in this woman, Diana, can you help me? I need to share my screen.
Okay, just a second.
Okay, I'll go on. In this Woman and Wellness Planning series, we've had a discussion on planning. Now we are doing health, how to live with authentic health. And then next we are dealing with healing. Thank you, dear. Perfect. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, those are the steps we've gone through, and those are me and my friends, and we've planned all this for the women that we care about. Each and every one of our passion, like they've said, is in women's care. So Dr. Lillian Kalisa, I'm a family physician. I am, for those who don't know, in family practice, it's a practice where we see a patient a patient is a person before they have their disease. So a patient presents to you as a person with a story, even before they have their disease, meaning that you manage them in the context of their being a person with a family, with a job, you know, whole health is what family practice entails. I am a mother. I'm a wife for over 10 years, and the CEO is Hope Health Healing, a space that empowers women that have gone through loss and trauma, enabling them to redefine their health and find healing. So our tagline is Hope Ignites Healing, and that's what I'm here to do now. For any lady that is facing effects of loss and trauma, it might not even be loss and trauma, anything that is unwell in your life, today is an opportunity to see if redefining health will help bring some truths to whatever it is you're going through. Now, I'm not here because of that nice profile that you've had. And yeah, it's nice to listen to, and I wish I was confident in its niceness ages ago, but this is a new side of me that has embraced me. I'm here because of my story. And the reason I joined with these ladies is not because I'm a family physician, it's because of my story. Now I've been bitten by life to see the beauty that you see before me. And the story that I have is probably similar to many of the ladies' stories. And I will keep November 2020, while in an ICU room somewhere in one of the nice hospitals in Kampala, I watched my dad take his last breath. Now, for me, my dad was, I know we all have dads, and, you know, I know that we have important people in our lives, but embrace your story the way it is. Mine was the trauma of losing my dad and watching him breathe his last. And while dad was breathing his last, I realized that I was actually not breathing through the biggest part of my life. I was not breathing through times when I had been betrayed by loved ones, close family and friends. I had not been breathing through multiple miscarriages. I'd not been breathing through multiple miscarriages, through infertility, through diseases, allergies, you name it. But here I was feeling that I was very fine, feeling that I'm a family physician, coordinating the care of my dad, a good sister, a good wife, a good mother, a good friend, a good doctor, and yet dying within. I realized that I had not been breathing. There was so much pain. So the death of my dad was the climax of everything. And when he left, everything died for me. Everything was meaningless. My relationship with God, my health. I got so many symptoms at that time, which I don't have time to go through. And in the process, I realized that I was falling apart. In the process of trying to find meaning to what was going on is when I embraced the journey, the details of which maybe when we talk at our branch. But in embracing the journey, I realized that hope, starting at a point of hope and holding on to that hope, enables me to redefine my health. And that health is not merely the absence of disease and infirmity, but that health is what WHO describes it to be, a state of complete emotional, physical, and social well-being. So ladies who are here, health is not that you don't have disease. Health is not that you don't have a cough. Health is not that your doctor does not give you any medical record of you needing medication. Health is a state of complete emotional, physical, and social well-being. If I had time, I would have asked you ladies, write down the definition of health. What does health mean to you? Maybe you can do that in your time. So while I was going through my journey of healing, I actually realized that I needed to live health to the bone, the way WHO described it. And in trying to embrace those steps of health is how I came up to realize that my purpose was actually through my story, that each and every one of the traumas I had gone through, Dad dying and taking with him everything concerning my life, literally, was an opportunity for me to redefine my health, to redefine myself as Lillian, to boldly stand in my shoes and speak to the ladies. And in my practice, I've realized that most of the time we ladies, most of the illnesses we present with, especially the female-related issues, there's an element of something lying before that illness, and that is stress. Most of us lie awake at night with stories untold. We are hiding our truth. We are not speaking to anyone. We are keeping quiet because we want everyone around us to be fine. And I want to tell you that is the beginning of so many of the issues we are seeing. Hormonal imbalances, I will do research on it as we move along, but there is already evidence that has been written that a lot of our stress produces other hormones, which science I won't go into, that leads into disease processes in our bodies as women. So that's where I'm coming from. Through that trauma and that pain, I came to what I now call hope, health, healing. So we use hope as a snapshot moment like we are doing now to build your opportunity to see hope that health is possible. And then we take you through tangible steps of health emotionally, physically, and socially, and in the process, give you a healed version of yourself. And one of the things is that healing is a lifestyle and it's not a one moment event. So you don't get there and say, I'm healed. By the way, I'm healed. No, it's a lifestyle. That if an encounter similar to that one comes, the healed version of yourself is well equipped to embrace and know what to do through that encounter so that it does not destroy your physical being. You know, things like hormonal imbalances, fibroids, infertility, like I told you, miscarriages, so many, the story goes on. There's a beginning at a point of stress. And that's what I want to call out today. So as we move along, that's the big elephant in the room, that stress. Now that stress is keeping ladies awake at night. That stress is giving us insomnia, is giving us headaches, is giving us tears hidden, is giving us poor productivity at work, is giving us poor relationships with our friends and family, simply because we are not addressing and calling out that pain. Briefly, there was a newspaper. We've been doing Mental Awareness Month. If any of you know, or all of you know, I won't go into the details of that, but New Vision released a paper about 2 weeks ago. The headline was that a lot of us are dealing, 14 million, which is a third of our population, is dealing with mental issues. They called it mental illness, but I want to call it mental issues because everything starts in the mind. And that circle, the circled part, the golden part you see right there, is the highlight of the percentage in the that us women are suffering more than men. Remember, they are also having mental issues. Can you still hear me? Fortunate, Diana?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can. There's a bit of, but it's now okay.
Okay, thank you. So other statistics, and I won't go into the details of that, for those that are in other parts of the world, American Psychological Association did the same stats after studies from COVID, and it showed that still the skew was worse for women, that many of the women say that their stress increased in that time. And this is statistics that's last year, okay? So we are saying that 46% of us, that's a ratio that's closer to 50, are lying awake at night because of stress. And these are the things that I'm talking about. So when you lie awake at night, it means your normal hormones that should allow you to sleep are not allowing you to do that. Are not allowing you to do that. Instead, your stress hormones are causing disease, disease processes. So those, okay? And that is where a space of you're going through maybe failed relationships, maybe a failed business, maybe failed financial goals like Diana discussed last month, maybe failed parental relationships, or you failed with your partner, or you failed with your child. There are so many things that will keep us awake at night. I want you to know that I see you, that we see you, and that's why we are here in your space. That if at one time I had not allowed someone to speak to my pain and call it out where it hurt the most, I'd probably not be here telling you that, look, your health is very important, especially your emotional health, your mindset shifting, okay? Because that is the start of many of the disease processes we are dealing with. And that is the display of the center of it all. Now, not have that, but mental well-being is a space where you allow your mind to embrace you the way you are. You know, most of the time society has defined us. They've said you talk too much, not friendly, or they've said you look a certain way, and you've grown to believe it. And in the process, you have lost who you are. You've lost the functioning of your mind that was probably more alert when you were younger. You know, when you were younger, most of these things passed by us because our minds were at a certain level without exposure to a lot of distress. So that is what mental well-being is, starting with your mind, taming your mind to do the things that you need it to do. And that cannot happen without physical well-being. Now, physical is where you involve your body, you know, where you involve a routine, a workout routine, where you do not have to push yourself. Again, ladies, I don't have a lot of time to go over this. But when we have more time cozy in our space, we shall show you how it's possible to achieve each and every one of these goals on a daily. So that physical well-being, when you exercise your body, your mind is more alert. When you allow your body to go to your doctors for your checkups, you know where your body is, your mind is more in a space of recreation, in a space of rethinking and reorganizing itself. And in the process, you are blessing to the people around you, and that is social well-being. So the people around you cannot enjoy you when you are not well, when you are literally unwell. You think that you're giving the best to your babies, but when you have not dealt with yourself, you're giving them a compromised version of you. So that's why it starts with your mind. And then you allow your body to be active, to allow your mind to do what it needs to do. And then your society, your environment enjoys you. Now, social well-being is like a cross. So the vertical relationship is your relationship with your creator. Mine is God, with our Lord Jesus Christ. So it's important that on a daily, I have that spiritual nourishing. That is part of health. And then vertically is your horizontal relationships. That's with your family, your workmates, your environment, your house, your, cluttered or uncluttered self, and so on. In a nutshell, that's what I'm talking about, health. So you ladies can assess yourself and tick your boxes and see where you are and how important this journey is for you to start today. I won't go through the details, but that is a display of the optimism to whole health, what it means to have whole health, the healing power of health. And I want you to see that whoever documented this diagram, I got it off one of the researchers that have been done years ago. So that's where it all starts. Remember, I told you emotional well-being. Your mind has to be at a place where you know who you are. You know your strong points. You know what makes you well. You know what makes you, you know what allows you to be the best version of yourself. Okay. And then you add in self-care. That's the next display, which is what I talked about. Professional care is where you get support, like we are doing, our ladies, Diana, myself, and Unfortunate, where you get people care to support you, hold your hand and take you through that journey. And then you are best in a community that supports you through the goals that you've made. And that's why we encourage each one of you to have a community that is focused in the same direction as you to enable the best version of a healed you. That way, you're the best gift to your society. Okay. So hope starts at self-care, like I have said, and at self-care is where your mind is. Most importantly, ladies, if you take away anything today, take away that your mind is the most important thing you have on your body in your health. Your mind, I mean the brain. So our minds can do what we ask them to do, whatever we make them do. So if you make it chew and rely on the negativity, it will give you exactly that. And guess what? Your body will give what the brain has instructed the body to give. So if today you are dealing with the effects of let's say, grief, maybe you're dealing with grief like I did, and on a daily, your mind is telling you the negativity to eat. Trust me, your body is going to give you exactly that because you're daily releasing stress hormones. So I have run through this because of time, and maybe I will answer more detail when we ask questions. But what's next for us, ladies? After the brief and the things that I've run through, the next step is to give yourself permission to deliberately start on the journey. It cannot start without you saying yes. Most of the time I stood in a crowd hiding that nobody sees what I was going through. And ladies I listened to kept saying, you have to make the choice. They would look at me and say, Lillian, okay, not Lillian, but they would look and say, lady, you got to make the choice. And it was until I made the choice to chase after healing that you see this version of me. Otherwise, we'd still be in that space. So that is the next step for you, lady. And that healing is possible as a lifestyle. That's where we are headed next month. But you've got to start at health. You've got to start at redefining your health through purposeful living. And those are the steps that we have prepared for you to take. We've already planned for it. Diana gave us the plan. I hope we were able to do our vision boards. Mine was on me addressing more and more women, seeing myself tell the women this truth that I've found for myself, that I cannot hide any longer, that just amazes walking through it. If I may say, I have shortly under 2-month-old baby. Now, you can't believe what entails motherhood of a neonate. A neonate is a child below 8 weeks. But I'm here to give you this. Why? Because of the space that I've gone through. I can joyfully stand and say, I've enjoyed the best version of being a mom this time as compared to the other times, because I'm aware when my mind is taking me through puerperal blues, mother blues, postpartum blues, I know where to put my mind. It's taking me to places of depression, which is real for women in this time. I know what to do with my mind because I know better through these steps. Anyway, enough of that. So my vision board, Diana, my assignment had a lot to do with me talking to different women at different platforms in and around the world. And then we've gone through health, managing our health and keeping healthy. So remember the advert said authentic health. So from today, ladies, health is emotional, physical, and social well-being. If you're not achieving those three, I want to tell you that you're not healthy. Sorry, sadly. And then next we'll do healing and living healing as a lifestyle. Thank you, ladies. That's us. That's led by Diana, Phenomenal Women Global. And that's Fortunate Farm. And that's Hope Health Healing for you. We are here to serve you, ladies. And those are our social media platforms. For those that want to join a community of like-minded women, and hopefully we shall grow to even meet physically. This is virtual, but this is leading us to get confidence towards meeting virtually. Again, We won't meet for 2 years. We won't meet for 2 months. We will meet for hours, but those hours are points of hope. Whatever we shall be giving is to project you, to show that your life is possible, to ignite healing, to ignite planning, to ignite financial growth. By the way, social well-being has finances in it as well. So health is everything around us. So when we meet together, we shall be able to see that those will take us through snapshot moments of seeing those versions of ourselves. A healthy you given to you. So those are our social media platforms. Please reach us and connect with us. We'll be glad to see you there. Just a quote for you, Craig Crippen is one of my best authors in terms of writing poems and motivation. Instead of spending money on things, try investing in yourself. One of the things I had to do was to invest in myself. When I look back, I can't even count how much I did, but I celebrate it because it enabled me to embrace my healing. Invest in yourself, in your experiences, in your story, your relationships. True happiness lies in the things that we do, not in the things that we own. That is our website at Hope Health Healing. In the event that you need any support, you could want a discovery call, you could want to connect to other women, other opportunities for planning, other opportunities for healing, other connection, or you'd want to share it with someone who's not here. Please do not hesitate. And this is an opportunity for living whole health. Thank you, ladies. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lillian. I hope we can give her a virtual clap.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your presentation. And I loved that you summarized it with 3 well-beings. I think that's a good summary, because when we think of health, we mainly think of immunization, pressure, diabetes. But I like what you've said. It's not just the medical side of it, but it's actually the social well-being, as well as the mental state. So thank you so much for that.
Maybe I'll give the homework at the end. I'll give the homework at the end, the assignment. Maybe we could go through questions. Remember the to-do list or something. I'll do it at the end.
Okay,
That's
great.
okay.
So we just want to open it up to questions in case you have any questions for Lillian. Please feel free to raise your hand or feel free to unmute. Let's take a few questions. What's on your mind? As we had said earlier, we're here to support you as women in these important areas. So if you have any questions, this is your chance. Any questions, any contributions? Did she address all the areas you wanted, or do you have any areas that you'd like her to address, being a medical doctor as well?
I have a question for Lillian.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, please.
Thanks, Lillian. The presentation was really useful and I've learned a lot. You mentioned that you have a small baby and you have to balance life. Can you maybe give an example of some of your routines, balancing, looking after that baby plus your work and everything? Some of the things that you do to make life easier, because I think many of us are mothers and we find sometimes you end up spending more time on your work and less with your kids. We'd just like some tips, because it does obviously affect the children. Like for me, for example, I have a job that makes me travel quite a bit. So yeah, just like to share some of your tips.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Now, everyone's story is different, and thank you for sharing that, Lisa. And everyone's plate is different, and don't be hard on yourselves. That's one thing I want to tell a lady, because being hard on yourself starts to affect your mind, and then you're not productive. But if I can share what has worked or what is recommended in the lifestyle of healing is to schedule everything in your life, including your children. So one of the things I've had to do, which is different from my other children, is that I've had to read around how to enable a child to get a schedule. And that's because to manage life is to schedule things. And I'm hoping that this is transferable to all areas of our lives. Now, one of the things I have learned through, if I can give the example, let's say of a baby and what makes it different, is that I have read, maybe I can give a reference if there's any new mom here, there's a book called Moms on Call. I have read that when you schedule the child's feeding and resting during the day, they rest better at night. Now, the first 2 weeks were quite something else. Like any mother, you're not sleeping at night. But I tried and said, let me try it out because I have read it. And I learned that when you actually schedule, they are feeding and they are playing and they are sleeping. Of course, according to guidelines, people have done this research before us. They rest better at night. And that has enabled me to be able to do what I need to do, even if I give 30 minutes to my work. Of course, I'm still on maternity leave. And then when it comes to other older children, is to schedule your time with them. Now for you, Lisa, who travels, that if I told you around, let's say you travel 4 days a week and you're around 2 days, I'm giving an example, that those 2 days be planned. Remember the planning Diana gave us, that if it is you're spending 2 hours with your children, let those 2 hours be undivided attention. And then you have 22 hours of the rest of the day to plan. Quickly, one of the things I have learned is that if you purpose to spend one, you reap the benefits of your time when they're 15. Is it 15 or 10? 15, I think I read. 1 hour. So to answer your question, Lisa, my guidance has been scheduling things. If it's to schedule time with your husband, if it's to schedule time for your work, it's 4 hours of undivided, 1 hour, cook, finish, go to something else. I hope that's helpful. And then in the process, you're actually not overwhelmed, and especially time for yourself. I think time for yourself should be the first in the day, should be the first hour. Yeah.
We have another question in the chat from Sarah Adong. And Sarah, you can unmute. But Sarah is asking, how do we improve productivity at home? Sarah, do you want to unmute and give us
okay. Sarah, it's not, please, if you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. Please mute your microphone if you're not speaking. Okay, so Sarah, is that fortunate? Someone's microphone is really loud. Anyways, Sarah, if she's not speaking, my response would be just what I told Lisa towards the end. That you schedule productivity at home. For any woman, honestly, my recommendation would be to schedule, to prioritize. That's the only way we can handle the full plate that we are given, is to plan and appropriate your day from the beginning to the end. And that's where Diana came in with planning. If you were part of this call, that you have to plan your life to the bone, to the hour, to the day, and to give yourself, if you're available for your family for only 4 hours, let those 4 hours be unforgettable. It's not 4 hours you're on the phone, 4 hours you're finishing a report, 4 hours. I know life gives that to us, but we have to have the discipline to do that on our own. I hope I've answered. Maybe Diana can elaborate on that, but I think it's to do with planning.
Yes, I would agree as well. It's to do with planning. How do you plan your day? You know, what time do you have for work? What time do you have for family? What time do you have for yourself? So it's important to plan your day but also most importantly is to also relax, because when you are exhausted, then you don't get anything done. So like what Lillian, you said about self-care, you know, looking after yourself, making sure you are okay, and making sure you surround yourself with the right people who can motivate you, encourage you, who you can speak to. So a lot of what you do in terms of your own productivity is so much on your mental health, and how you've taken care of yourself. The rest is about scheduling and using your most productive hours. One of the things that we need to learn, or we need to find out, is when is our productive time. Some of us are productive at night, some of us are more productive in the morning. So if you're productive in the morning, then ensure that you do the most important tasks at that time. You know, if you have a report to read or you have something really important, then do it in your most productive hours. But similarly, even in the home, as you're in the home, there are things that you can delegate, yeah? Because I know most of us try and be a jack of all trades. You come from work, you cook, you get the kids' uniforms ready, you get this done. You know, by the time you sleep, you're exhausted. Now, some of those tasks can be delegated, yeah? I used to come home, wash my children's bottles, make their juice before they go to school, yet I've come from work. But I realized when I don't do it, they do it. If they don't do it, the helper will do it. So it's just delegating some of those tasks that don't need to be done by you. It's not rocket science. So in the home, don't make it your responsibility to do everything, but get your children to do more, or get the house help to do more of the tasks which don't require you to do. Another example is like cooking. The kids like my own cooking, but I can't cook every time I come back from work. So there are things which I'll ask the helper to do. Peel the potatoes, boil them, and have them put there. Then when I come, I'll fry them, I'll spice them, you know, boil the meat. So even pre-cooked or delegating certain tasks and keeping the crucial roles for yourself will help you with your productivity at home. Thank you. Thank you, Lillian. Any more questions? This is your chance to meet the doctor and speak to her without her charging you a consultation fee. Okay, Lillian. Okay, go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
You've talked a lot about yourselves, the children, and the things you have to do when you are planning, the maids. When do you bring in your partners so that they can be able to help you in the home, and you can divide up some roles? I don't hear that. It looks like you are running all over the place by yourselves.
Lillian, I think that's yours.
I think in all fairness, well, my internet is unstable. I think in all fairness, our partners have the role to support us in every way, and you call for help. One of the things that we learned in that journey is to accept you need help. And when you need the help, ask for it, okay? So part of what Diana has explained, where we're getting support from the people around us, ask for help. But then in the same way, our partners have their docket. That is if they're doing their role, have their docket of what they need to do to provide for the family, or to provide, or to make sure that ends are met, where we are not also helping them. So I believe that if the roles are clearly spelled out, when you need help, ask for help. I don't know if that makes sense. Well, that's ideally what I feel helps me through that journey. But still, it starts with me. It starts with mindful awareness of myself and what I can handle. Diana, anything to add or Fortunate?
I think that was really comprehensive. Self-awareness is very important because you can only seek help if you know what help you need. But I think also where she was coming from, I would assume, was from the point of view of we have spoken about everything that we can do, but at what point do we involve our spouses? And I see someone in the chat room mentioned that gender roles are important. And I think for most of us, we believe that the husband's role is to provide. So I don't know if it cuts across, but maybe someone can clarify on that matter.
Yes,
and then also, just a minute, Anna. I see a couple of ladies joined in, but they used my logins. So if they could kindly rename their devices. Dana, go on.
Yes, I was just going to add in terms of where does your spouse come in? It's really, really, as Lillian said, about dividing the roles and sharing the roles. And critical for many of us who are married, it's a communication issue. You need to communicate where you need help. You need to communicate what your different roles are. Things like picking up the children, managing certain aspects of the home. So it's not that we are super women. And I think that's where stress comes in. The belief that you're a superwoman and you can do it all and you do it by yourself. At the end, you end up very stressed or very miserable or feeling like somebody is not contributing. But I think key in a relationship is communication and having that discussion with your partner in terms of what are our life goals? What do we want to achieve? And it comes down to, who does what? What is your contribution? What is my contribution? How is your day? Because if I'm working 8 to 5 and you're working 8 to 5, then are we delegating child pickup? Are we delegating certain aspects of our lives? So it's really a communication issue, and maybe just to encourage people to ensure that they have that open communication with your partner. On another role which Fortunate and I play, we speak to young couples, we speak to couples that are married, and one of the main or the critical factor in marriages is communication. Once that is not there, everything else fails. But you need to be able to have that open door communication. And if you don't have it, then you need to seek help or to seek people who you can sit and talk with to address communication in the home so that you're able to share and discuss what your roles are, but also to be able to be honest with what your weaknesses are and what you're not able to do, just so that we avoid a situation when we're stressed and doing too much. Yeah, thank you.
And if I can add and summarize all that, remember we started at yourself. This is yourself and your health. So you will not be able to know what support you need without knowing yourself, without knowing what works for you, without knowing what overwhelms you, without knowing what brings the best version of yourself, or even knowing what is it that you need help in. So there has to be that time where you have to do the work with yourself, even before we go social. Because remember, social is the environment around us. I know it will take time. I know sometimes you feel like you're cheating the people around you or they are cheating you, but you can't skip the steps. You got to make the journey. And in the process, you boldly stand in your shoes and say, today, I am overwhelmed. I need ABC. Today, I have not had enough of my quiet time. I need help so that I can have my quality time, which gives me a better version of myself through the day. Next month, I need to go for my medical. I have not done it. On the day I'm going for my medical, I need support for ABCD. So you have to plan your life and let the people around you support you in your plan. And that's most of the time what we skip.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lillian.
Any other questions?
Lillian, I had a question on, because you started off by mentioning that you also went through a stressful time when your father died. So for women who have gone through traumatic experiences like that, death, any other, maybe job loss or any other traumatic event, violence, that obviously affects the way they function in the home and with their children. So when do you advise, because it takes a lot of self-awareness for someone to admit that they should go for help or for counseling or whatever. What advice do you give to women in this forum who maybe even at this present moment be experiencing some kind of stressful situations that would obviously affect the way they function in their family life?
Okay, thank you, Lisa. That's a nice question.
For me,
Very, very.
I have a charge. iPhone charge.
Celia, please mute your mic. Thank you. Most importantly, grief, for whatever reason, has steps, multiple steps, 4 steps, 4 major steps, and these steps are different for everybody. So for ladies who might be going through places of your lowest point, at what point do you decide or do you know that you need help? You start by allowing yourself to look outside of yourself. I don't know if that's easy to say, but what do I mean look out of yourself? Either make the effort to read a book, talk to someone. At H3, we have 3 main steps. Step number 1 is talk to someone. Say, connect and talk to someone. So someone could be you're listening to an audio, could be you're listening to a video, could be you're reading a book, could be that makes you aware in that area that you're struggling with. You're listening to people like myself, you're listening to people that are talking about their journeys. And that helps you to get the point of hope that, you know what, I'm not alone. Someone is hearing me out. Someone will listen to me. And then the second step is to get professional support. Okay? And then the third step is to connect with similar-minded people. So that is the journey, and you cannot skip the steps. So to support a lady, start by talking to someone, preferably someone that has gone through the same. There are so many people on the internet, people have written books, but you have to make the step. So make the step and come out of it. So it still goes back to awareness. You're aware that you need help, seek the help. And how does it entail? How does it come? Not all of us can read a book. And that still comes from you assessing, am I a good reader or am I a good listener? If I'm a good listener, then I can watch an audio. So yeah, if I'm good at watching movies, that means I can watch someone speaking. I can watch a motivational speaker. If I'm good at writing, then I can actually write down my thoughts. I can journal them down. And those are the major steps, tangible steps, but you got to make the step. And in the process, without rushing yourself, you do get there. You do get there to a place of, see, in this space, going through that, you have to make the effort, the first steps.
Okay, if there are no other questions, maybe Lillian, you can give us some homework.
Okay, some homework for the ladies here. A quick one on one of the things that we do in managing our mind. One of the things we do, and I'm going to give you an assignment, hope you can do them in your space. Number 1 is to know your worth. I want you to deliberately write your worth out. Write, if I had time, I would have explained. There's something that I call a brag binder. A brag binder I learned to write while I was going through my journey of healing. And what does that mean? You sit and write down everything you know about yourself that day, whether you're a head boy or head girl, or whether you're good at singing, or whether you're good at talking to people, or whether you are, write it down. If you have opportunities where people have spoken well of yourself, print it out and put it in a folder. Read it through your journey every day. By the time you finish it, the world will not recognize you. So that's your first assignment. I want you to brag about yourself. We've spent a lot of time hearing people telling us the negative versions of ourselves. Now it's time for us to do it for ourselves. So I'd like to give an assignment to every lady to go and make a brag binder. Brag binder. And because of time, you can look it up and see how it's done. But it's just getting a folder, print out anything good someone has said about you. Either you treated a patient well and they acknowledged, or you spoke well and someone acknowledged, or you did someone's business well and they acknowledged. Write it down. Okay. Number 2, brain dumping. Now, remember, I told you managing your mind. I want you to get a journal. I hope you write. And while you're in your constructive time, so ladies who ask, how do I ration my time? While you're in your constructive time and something comes to distract your mind, write it down somewhere. That thing, for example, I am having my time with my babies, my children. And then I remember, oh my God, I have a loan that is Bamanja. Write it down. When you write it down, we call it brain dumping. In that document, you're setting it aside for another time. You're scheduling a time where you sit and productively think about that issue, okay? So it's called brain dumping. So I want you, if you're in your quiet time, let's say with your God, and you remember, hey, my mother did this. Ah, yeah, I need to take milk from my mother. Write it down, brain dump it, and set an appropriate time to deal with it. That is the best time for you to have the most constructive use of your time, when you have scheduled it. And the third one is gratitude. I have learned every day to be thankful for 5 things. You don't need many, do 5, preferably at the end of the day. Some people use a gratitude jar where you throw in the papers, or you can just put in your journal. If you did this habit, and there is research, if you had this habit done on a daily, after just 3 months, you will not recognize yourself. Because every new day, you're looking forward to looking out for the positives in life, because you're going to write them down at the end of the day. So that's my assignment for you ladies. The first one is to brag bind. The second one is to brain dump. The third one is gratitude. Thank you. That's mind management.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you so much for that. I think those are great assignments, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results after we have done that. So ladies, we had shared our social media contacts with you, and we'll share them again, but we have your contacts as well. So if you do your assignment, feel free to share with Lillian, so she can reach out to you. And if you did your previous assignment, which I gave you, you can also share that with me. Feel free to reach out to us by email or on our social media pages. Because so far we've spoken about planning and doing a dream board, scheduling things in your life. And today Lillian has shared about health. So next month, on the last Thursday of the month, we are going to talk about healing, and we'll listen to Fortunate. She has a really interesting story, so you don't want to miss it. So we'll see you next month on the last Thursday. And then we look forward to our physical meetup in July. So thank you. If there are no other questions or contributions, I'll hand over to Fortunate to close for us. Fortunate, over to you.
All right, thank you, ladies. I'm in the dark. Well, I'm on the road. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that was able to log in. Thank you, Lillian, for such a beautiful presentation. Thank you, Dana, for moderating. So I'll just quickly dive into a closing prayer and wish everyone a beautiful evening. And I trust that we have picked 1 or 2 things from the session. But most importantly, I hope that we shall take the assignment seriously. And as we start to go through the season of growing and healing, and planning. We shall take the assignment seriously, and also continue to work on ourselves. So let's humble ourselves and pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the opportunity you've given us to fellowship with the ladies on the call today. We thank you for everything that Lillian has shared with us. And Father, Lord, we pray that we shall continue to be women that move when you move, women that will grow in areas that you want us to grow in. But most importantly, Lord, that we shall listen when you nudge us towards a particular thing that you want us to grow in or to heal in, and that we shall be open to the healing as it comes. In Jesus' name I have prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, ladies. Have a beautiful
Thank you.
evening. See you next month.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.